Okay, we are in business.
There's no pointing to that.
Okay, Freddie the Fisher.
Ah, yeah, Fred the Fisherman.
I knew that'd get a smile.
From Liscombe.
Tell us about Freddie.
Liscombe, Nova Scotia. Freddie was, I think, Daryl's cousin or an uncle, right? And he was Freddie the Fisherman, and the other part of his name now escapes me many years ago. But Daryl License and Alan Reed would go out to Freddie, just like I used to go out to Oyster Pond. They would go out, and Freddie would take the city slickers out in his lobster boat.
The city slickers.
Yeah, and he would watch them get sick and puke and all this, right? He couldn't wait. And he was an offshore fisherman, and he would love to take the city slickers with him, right? And Daryl threw up, and of course Alan threw up and whatever, so he was well rewarded. So one day Freddie was working in the yard, and he had a pick and a shovel, and he was working in the garden. And Alan Reed is Daryl's cousin. He had one eye. And Daryl License and Alan used to sit on the seashore and throw rocks. And Alan was standing behind him, and Daryl lifted up to throw the rock and took his eye right out.
Oh.
Completely. He lost vision in one eye.
Did he lose like the whole?
Yeah, he lost all vision in that eye.
Oh.
And Alan was,
But did the eye remain in the socket, or?
I can't tell you those details,
oh, okay.
right? We heard enough, and Daryl carried that burden for a lot of his life. And unfortunately, Alan had a bad heart, and they had bad heart in the family when Alan was in his 30s, and he had a daughter, and they were out blueberry picking. Alan died in the field. But Alan was one of those guys who just knew how to drive. Even if he had one eye, he was always my hero. And he drove his father's 1958 Chev, that, what did they call it?
They had a 58 Chev?
Had a 58 Chevy, his dad did, right? And Alan come flying in the driveway, and he could stop it within an inch of anything, no matter what it was. It was one of those turquoise and green ones, ocean green or whatever you used to call it. And Alan, God, he was good, right? And we kept waiting for Alan to hit stuff. We were never rewarded. So Alan could really wheel those cars. So Alan was one of the sharper knives in the drawer. And Freddie, he spent a lot of time. Nobody ever got away from Fred's long reach. He was going to get him with something. So one day, Alan and him were there working out in the field. And then Freddie looks down at his hands, and Freddie goes, my hands are hurting like crazy. Look at them, Alan. And they're kind of red looking right now. I go, yep, okay, Fred, yep. So listen, I want you to go down to the corner store down there. There's a guy in the store, who knows what his name was, right? And you got to get me some leather me out, right?
Leather me out.
Leather me out. He's making all this stuff up, and it sounded so good. Alan took the hook, right? And he had to walk like 3 miles, like quite a long distance to go all the way to the general store. He walks in the front door, and he goes up to the counter, and he looks to the guy and said, "You got any leather me out?" And the guy in the counter looks at him and said, "That goddamn Fred sent you here, didn't he?" And he goes, "No, yeah, oh, he got you good, sonny boy. Oh, he got you so good. No, we know Freddie, yeah."
So Freddie was the practical joker.
Yeah, oh, Freddie would get it on everybody, no matter who you were, right? And,
yeah.
And so Alan left fuming, as you can imagine, like in a cartoon, all the way back. And Freddie's standing there looking, "Well, you got me leather me out or not, lad?" And he goes, "You dirty dog." Then he stops. He knew, Alan knew he had one on him, so he had to buck up and shut up, right? And then Freddie just had that sly smile, and that was the end. So that's
how old was
Alan then?
Yeah.
Probably 17.
Right.
Yeah, 17, 18, when a teenager knows everything.
And Freddie was how old?
Freddie, I don't know. I never met Freddie, but I'm going to guess he was in his 40s, 50s at that time.
Okay.
An experienced fisherman, a real fisherman who had no use for these.
A real
right?
Nova Scotia.
Every single person came from the city. They were a target, and he enjoyed target shooting a lot, and he got every one of them. He got them all.
So I can't help but think about Daryl. Is this Daryl?
Daryl License, the drummer for the Fortigo, yes.
Yeah, that.
Ida License was his mother.
No, but the eye.
The eye?
Yeah. You said the eye got knocked out.
No, Alan Kent's eye got knocked out by Daryl License. The drummer.
Yeah.
And they were cousins, and they were throwing rocks on the beach.
Yeah.
Yes? It didn't affect Alan one bit, as you know. We could wheel a car in and stop it.
How old was Alan at the time?
Oh, I think they were 12, 13, something
12,
like
13.
that. But I wasn't there to witness it. But Alan definitely, I think he had a glass eye, come to think of it.
So so it was Daryl who, they were throwing rocks.
Yeah.
Alan got a rock in the eye.
Daryl lifted back like this, and Alan was standing too close behind him.
Oh.
So you go like this to throw a rock, and just Daryl swung. You know, when you throw rocks on the ocean, they're big ones.
Yeah.
And we've little flat ones for skipping and whatever. So of course that's sticking up, and there went Alan's eye, right? And Alan, you didn't have many conversations with Alan. He was his own person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he worked for the Nova Scotia Liquor Commission.
And where did Alan live?
In Halifax, right?
So he lived in Halifax.
Yeah.
But the city slickers lived over in Yarmouth.
Yeah, there were the Porkers, and there was the Kents, and there were some other people. They all lived there. Some worked in the fish plants, and Alan's father, they were his parents were the nicest people, right?
Yeah.
You could meet. They were just nice people.